the Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Progressive presents an interview with your upstairs neighbor.
My name's Barry. I live right above you. I don't host parties. I host after parties. They're like parties, only louder and nobody goes home. You can see right here I ripped out all the carpeting because it was holding me back with my pogo stick. Man's got a pogo. Oh, I'm a prankster. I'll grease up a soda can and then when somebody grabs it, boom!
Progressive can't save you from your upstairs neighbor, but we can save you money when you bundle renters and auto insurance with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
you have smoked yourself retarded.
Here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
All right. Back. Technology tried to keep us down. We're like herpes. We just keep showing up. Chris.
I'm Aaron.
Yeah? What is it? Month 227? Doing the show separately.
Spring and summer just went by like a blink.
Yeah, all of a sudden, hey, it's September, everybody. We've all been doing this lockdown-ish thing for 6 months.
I don't think we're not going to get the Indian summer either, are we? Like immediately went to
not Native American summer?
Autumn weather.
And wasn't that an October thing though too? Or I don't know. It seemed like an excuse for the winter man to tell you why it was hot in the fall, right? Yeah, it's Indian summer. It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't think it has to be in October. Imagine. It would still apply to September, because that's in the fall. Just any hot day that was outside of summer.
Botanica.com says late October or November.
Why? So if it gets hot...
It is still summer for what, like a week?
A week what? A week from now or a week into September?
A week from now.
Oh, okay.
Because today's we're recording on the 12th. So yeah, I think we technically have another week or so of calendar summer. What can I say instead of Indian summer is on the Google card.
We can just throw the whole term out, right? Because it's pointless.
Well, people from India might take like, oh, hey, wait a minute.
And it doesn't involve no. They wouldn't give a shit.
I believe you're supposed to say second summer. It's from a Slate.com article. So
we don't need a replacement term, because we can just say, "Oh, it's pretty hot for October, huh?"
Right? But fall already.
Fall. We'll have Halloween. Is it going to be canceled this year?
Well, I mean, everyone's always wearing masks, right?
Nobody's going to have any sort of recognizable... Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. No kids are going to have a recognizable Halloween this year.
Yeah, I mean...
This is good. The worst part is...
Go to a stranger's house, have you give them food? No, thanks.
We're gonna cancel Halloween because we don't want kids walking from house to house. Outside, mind you.
Who are wearing masks anyway.
Right, yeah. But there's still going to be just as many Halloween parties, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
The adults will go out to their parties where they all pack inside of a house and talk really close to one another and transmit COVID to each other. And the kids who are actually doing the more safe thing of wearing a mask and running around outside are going to be told that they can't because it's too dangerous.
Well, isn't that kind of what we're seeing? Aren't we getting that example with schools right now?
Yep.
Like COVID's just running through college campuses, and so far schools, not that much. I mean, it is. I'm not saying it isn't, but it's nowhere as near as what it's doing on college campuses. Because it's crazy. You get a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds together. They want to hang out.
Well,
they're
grade school it's a controlled environment.
Yeah.
College is not.
Yeah, correct. All those kids want to do is party and fuck. That's not what you want to do between 18 and 22. Is get fucked up and then fuck something.
Right. Look, if AIDS didn't stop you, COVID ain't gonna stop.
Exactly. AIDS didn't stop that. Here, use a condom. All right.
Mark Mothersbaugh had the COVID.
Oh, no. Is he all right?
Yeah, apparently he nearly died in the hospital for a while.
That's because he's old.
Well, he's 70 years old.
Yeah, I was looking at death numbers today, and if you look by age group, you're pretty much cool to about 55. And after 55, that's when the significant jumps occur. So, yeah. But that's it. He got it. He's all right.
I guess. I'm trying to figure out what this quote is. I felt blood from being hit. I was handcuffed to a parking deck downtown. I had this whole elaborate story of how these kids sold me an ambulance company and then got some sort of payment for delivering COVID patients to their ICU.
What the?
I totally believed it.
What was he saying? He was like a denier, and then he got it? Is that where he's going with this?
I think he was hallucinating. Yeah, he said he's on a ventilator tube. This is a Devo co-founder and acclaimed film and TV composer came to believe that he was recovering from a vicious beating in downtown Los Angeles. There is a bookstore I love there where I get stationery supplies, and in my mind, I had been there. I was convinced for about 2 weeks that I had been hit by a brick by somebody in Little Tokyo. So he thought that the reason he was in the hospital is because somebody had attacked him on the street.
So what was it, like a fever dream?
I guess. I've had some pretty messed up fever dreams. I believed that my legs had turned into paintbrushes.
Wow. What were you painting?
I don't think I successfully painted anything.
Or just like a slug, and you just left a trail everywhere you went.
Well, I couldn't walk on them.
So you're like pulling yourself around?
No, I was in bed. I was in bed with a fever.
Oh, gotcha.
I wasn't walking around town and just suddenly came down with the fever and started hallucinating. But yeah, I don't know. I wish him well. He's a true talent. Like him and what's his name? Oingo Boingo dude.
Danny Elfman.
Danny Elfman, yeah. They had very similar careers, didn't they? They both fronted weird ass bands that had like one hit.
Yeah, and then became film composers.
Yeah.
I'd argue Elfman was probably the more successful film composer.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what? He did Pee-wee's Big Adventure. He did Beetlejuice.
I'm sure Elfman had a lot of the bigger, noticeable movies and probably made a lot more money. But as far as quality of output, I think they're neck and neck.
Mothersbaugh did Rugrats. Sure, that show ran for a long fucking time, and it was a kid's show. I'm sure he got plenty of money from that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You get your shit into a kid's show.
That's just printing money. You're all thinking about it. It's a breakfast machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember thinking that was the coolest shit when I was a kid. Like, no fucking when it's real. That is needlessly elaborate to make yourself some breakfast.
another distinction between Mothersbaugh and Elfman. Elfman kind of developed a style and worked within that, and many of his compositions are, immediately identifiable.
Yeah, you know Danny Elfman
And
when you hear him.
the Mothersbaugh stuff, he's all over the place. He's much more chameleon-like.
And then didn't Danny Elfman also, didn't he do the first Batman? No, was that the first Batman?
Yes. The first
Batman?
couple, at least. He did the, not the first Batman, but the, what's his name, Batman? What's his fucking name? The actor that played Batman in the 89 one.
Keaton.
Yes. What are we listening to?
This is Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay.
See, it took a second. Another one he did with Michael Keaton.
That's true.
The year before.
This was the year before Batman?
This is 1988. Batman was 89, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Late 80s were good to Michael Keaton, huh?
That was his heyday.
Yeah. Didn't he have a slight comeback a few years ago when he did Birdman?
I think he's had a pretty healthy comeback, but he got a bit of the Tarantino treatment with Jackie Brown. That was kind of a reintroduction to Michael Keaton. And then he was in Birdman. Obviously, he was the main villain in the Spider-Man movie.
Oh, the first one? Which Spider-Mans? Yeah. I guess I should ask that.
What do you describe as the first one? He was the one.
Tobey Maguire.
No, he was not in the Tobey Maguire one. No, the Tom Holland one. The most recent version of Spider-Man, Far From Home.
Gotcha.
Or no, Homecoming. I forget. I forget which one is which, but he was in the first of those two Tom Holland movies. He was the Vulture.
Why do they reboot Spider-Man so much? Do they keep fucking it up?
No, they reboot him because he's the most popular superhero character that Marvel has. They reboot him because there's a demand for him. Same reason that they constantly and it's not even like rebooting. I wouldn't even call it. It's not an appropriate term because the character is endless. Like there's always going to be a Spider-Man or a Batman. Somebody's got to play him.
Yeah, but I guess there was a long stretch between Joel Schumacher and then The Dark Knights. There was 5 years between Spider-Man 3 and then when they, rebooted it, whatever you want to call it.
No, there wasn't. There was Andrew Garfield in between. There's Tobey Maguire, then Andrew Garfield, then Tom Holland.
Well, there we go. Well,
they've had half. They've had there's been twice that many Batman in the meantime. And Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer.
But I'm saying there was a 10-year gap between Clooney and Bale.
Maybe.
We had Clooney Batman, and then there was no Batman for a long time. And then The Dark Knight came back, and then then there's been Christian Bale, there's been Batfleck, and then now we're on to what? Robert Pattinson?
Yeah.
And I'm saying, there was 3 different Spider-Men between 2000 and 2010. Oh, but yeah, I guess you could say the same thing with Batman in the 90s. So who the fuck? I don't know.
Well, Spider-Man's also supposed to be a younger hero, and so your actor ages out of that role quicker. There's a wider window to play Batman. Batman can be anything from just starting out to grizzled.
It's true. Yeah, Batman's just a guy. There really was it's a 20-something, it's a 30-something. No, it was just a guy. Whereas, you're right, Spider-Man's got to be... Because, he's in school, right?
Yeah. He's either going to be a high school or a college student or just out of college. That's about as old as you get with Spider-Man.
Yeah, because if he's not in school, he never meets Mary Jane. And yeah, and he's still living with adults.
Living with yes, his aunt and uncle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, he still needed supervision in his early days.
The official word on whether we're going to get a new Venture Brothers season came out this last week.
I forgot about that show.
They've canceled it. I don't know. I think it's been like 3 years or more since the last season came out.
It's because most people had the same reaction I did. Like, oh yeah, that show.
That show's still on?
Yeah. Dude, that show was on when I was in my 20s. I am 41.
I think it was like 17 years it was on.
Does Patrick Warburton really need another voice gig?
17 years and 8 seasons.
Who are you, Game of Thrones?
That's less than every other year.
Yeah. Who are you, Rick and Morty? See what I did there?
I think it's...
Because they're slow.
It's... the show, I think, is... I think it's a really good show. It's inconsistent, I guess. I think they tried to do different things with their seasons and the way that they structured them, and some of it was interesting. They didn't always succeed.
It never really, I would have to be super high and probably in bed to watch that. Like, it wasn't appointment TV for me. Like, this is on, whatever. Nothing else is.
It's also, it was really trying to hit a bullseye for a very specific audience.
Well, yeah, the humor did not resonate with me.
It was narrow, yeah. If you didn't watch, Johnny Quest back in the day, you didn't really get the conceit.
Well, that's it. It seemed like it was for people older than me.
Yeah, it was. Demographically, I think we were just below the age group they were hitting for.
Yet it made it 17 years?
Yeah, well, I think that they're great writers. I enjoyed the humor in it. I think that they had a great voice cast and some of that great original music from what's the guy who does the music for that show?
Wow.
Jim Thirlwell also goes by the name Fetus.
August 7th, 2004 was when it premiered. The pilot episode was on February 16th, 2003. And apparently its final airing date's going to be October 7th, 2018.
Was that recently? I don't even know if I watched the last season then.
Yeah, looking at stills from this, I remember watching it. This was something. This was in the category with kind of how certain reruns were when we were kids. This is on. Nothing else is on.
Yeah,
I'll just leave this on.
But it wasn't completely stupid or offensive or annoying.
For me, it was perfect example. For me, it was when a Silver Spoons rerun was on. Nothing else is on. It looks like it's trying to be comedy. I'll watch it. Nothing here.
Yeah,
I don't laugh at anything.
It was appointment viewing for me. That was my favorite show on Adult Swim. And I think I'm past due for, like I said, I don't know if I watched the last season, so I might as well just start from the beginning. I think that they're all going to have, these episodes available on HBO Max, which it got a lot of the more popular Adult Swim stuff at launch, but as of this month, they dropped a bunch more stuff, all the episodes of Squidbillies and...
See, that, I would watch... It wasn't appointment viewing, but I definitely... Appointment viewing for me on Adult Swim was only ever 2 shows that weren't, Family Guy, all that stuff. Was Space Ghost and Aqua Teen. That was shit I made sure I watched.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World. The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for the previews to start in a movie theater.
Hey, you want anything? Popcorn? Soda? No, nothing?
This has been The Sounds of the Old World. Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So the weather is just all over the place lately, right? One day it's hot, and the next day it's windy for a while. It's like, make up your mind already. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
Especially when Space Ghost. Remember Space Ghost First to Coast came on? Came on when I was in high school. That blew our fucking minds.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Senior year.
I enjoyed the first couple seasons of Aqua Teen quite a bit. The Space Ghost never really did it for me.
Oh, especially the interviews were fucking great.
I don't think that the interviews, I think, cause a lot of problems for syndication with that show. Much like the videos and the Beavis and Butthead stuff did. But, because I don't see the Space Ghost stuff on HBO Max, but they do have the Brack show.
Oh, I love that show. I think it had like one season. That show was pure nonsense, and I loved every second of it. A lot of that show I just found annoying, but there are like Brack songs that I still have stuck in my head. Oh, like especially during quarantine. What day is it? What day is it? Is a good one. Or anytime that I'm doing laundry and I have to match up my socks, I start singing, "Where is my other sock? Where is my other sock? Oh, I'm a sock that's dirty." He goes into like the sock getting washed and tumbling around in the dryer and getting lost. Like I just remember when watching anything that came from Cartoon Planet, really, which is Space Ghost. Like this is just a bunch of guys in a room with a big bag of pot, like who are writing this show. It was great. I know. I was probably the right age for it too when it all hit, but I thought it was a great idea too for Cartoon Network. They had all this Hanna-Barbera animation they had the rights to that was essentially aging out. Yep. Like how do we make money off of this? Right. And it's great. I mean, it's like sampling. They're just repurposing it. Yeah. But Space Ghost is probably what spawned Adult Swim in general. Well, also this idea that, I mean, traditionally animation is a long process. Yeah. Right? And there's a lot of, they send this stuff to overseas and, you know, there's like teams of people working on this shit. So it's going to be a lot harder to sell when you're like, what's your show about? Oh, we're just going to riff as these characters for a while. We're just going to ad-lib, make up some songs, and then we'll ship it out and wait 2 years and spend tens of thousands of dollars to get it animated. Now it's something that they can actually do in-house, much like South Park. Yeah. You know? They're like, keep the animation cheap and simple, and then you can just start cranking out the ideas. Well, too, it was... I think we may have watched it together back when you lived. The South Park movie, not the movie, but the one, what's it called? 6 Days to Air or 7 Days to Air, something like that. And it essentially told the story of South Park. And yeah, at the beginning it was a lot more involved, and now it's just because of how technology's advanced. It was about how now they can crank out a show in a week, whereas it took months, or it took weeks or months when they first started. Well, right, because they were still basically doing stop motion animation. Mm-hmm. It was literally cutting out construction paper. So I also learned Bill Hader was a writer for them for a while. Oh, I didn't know that. So maybe I didn't watch it with you. Yeah, I don't think I watched it. Yeah, he was in that movie a lot because at the time he was the head writer. I love Bill Hader so much. I really hope they continue on with his HBO show, Barry. They need to fucking get moving on Succession. Last I read, they hadn't even started shooting it yet because when they were about to, the pandemic started.
Yeah, it's going to be a while.
God damn it. Well, they've already reset the standard anyways. They can go fucking eat 2 years between seasons thanks to Game of Thrones. So they got people. I don't like that. You can't at least deliver once a year.
That's a rarity. There's only certain shows. Game of Thrones is a unicorn.
It's maybe because the production value was so high.
They didn't set a standard that, other shows now have to hit. It's not like everyone's like, no, well, now we have to take 2 years and dump a bunch of money into special effects and production value to have a show. So, I mean, Sopranos did this before, too. Sopranos was so insanely huge that they were able to go, we need more time to... But it didn't change the standard. Most shows are expected to, if you're not coming out once a year, then you're canceled.
Yeah, needs to be a demand. Yeah, I guess by the time Game of Thrones did it, they had been around for a while, and they had the quote-unquote cachet to be able to do it. They knew people would wait.
They knew people would wait, and they also knew that people's expectations kept amping up. The more graphic and over-the-top the show got, the more people were like, well, can't wait to see what they do for season 5, and then, they're sitting around going, oh, shit, now we got to make season 5, and we showed fucking dragons in the last season. So we not only have to continue showing lots of dragons, we got to up the ante. Different types of dragons, other types of monsters, more boobs, more decapitations.
Now we got to leave a coffee cup in a scene so the internet will talk about it.
I think it's a problem that The Boys is going to have a tough time living up to how hard that first season hit with people. Season 2 is out now, and it's already getting bad reviews just because of the release schedule, which is kind of insane. Because the first season of The Boys was dropped all as one, which is how Amazon has been following the Netflix model for a while now and doing the season dump. But I think they're starting to realize that what you get with it by dumping it is you have everyone watch it over the course of a weekend or a week, and they all talk about it on social media, and then they move on.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Whereas
Hulu's got it right.
Drops a show every week, and people are talking about your show for 2-3 months.
Well, Hulu follows that model, right? They do it with The Handmaid's Tale. They did it with the Wu-Tang show. I mean, that's
a weekly release.
Yeah, and it's still like the Wu-Tang.
That's not a model. I mean, they're doing it how every other show.
Well, they're owned by network TV, so they should. But yeah, my wife was doing it with The Handmaid's Tale. We were doing it with the Wu-Tang. It was still appointment viewing, even though it was streaming. Oh shit, it's Wednesday. We can watch Wu-Tang.
Yeah. A lot of places are trying to do a hybrid of that now. Because I think The Boys, why people review bombed The Boys is because they dropped, I think, 3 episodes on day 1. And then made you wait a week for episode 4. So I didn't even realize that I was watching it, and I got to episode 3, and then it just ended. And I was like, well, wait a minute, what happened to the rest of the season?
Oh, so people were mad.
I think people are definitely mad.
The dealer gave you 3 free hits, and it made you wait a week for the 4th.
People are downrating it on Amazon because of its schedule.
Oh, you did.
Which is ridiculous.
Hindsight.
Which is, this is the same.
You just watch an episode every other day, and then you don't miss a beat. Maybe you got to wait 2 days in between one of them, but
right. Well, there very few people who rate things on Amazon who, with any logic, people give 1-star ratings to things that they're like, I ordered the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's. I've learned you've had to. You got to go through the 1 stars. You got to go through the shitty reviews of things you want to buy and make sure that, because I think we've talked about, a lot of times it's just about the experience they had. It has nothing to do with the product.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so, the mail sucks. I get it. Yep,
so this is a perfect example. Yeah, it was about the experience. They were mad because they couldn't get more of it right away. Either way, I think this season of The Boys is not as good so far in the 4 episodes that we're into it. Not as good as season 1, and it's going to have a tough time living up to. There's so much about season 1 that was over the top, that got a lot of attention because it was like, it was blowjobs and exploding heads and there was a dolphin in a traffic accident that was rather gruesome. Got ran over by a 18-wheeler.
Well, is this a show about the people that are using their superpowers for bad?
It's about superheroes. It's about people who's made it their job to hunt down superheroes who have lost control.
Yeah, okay. Something like that. It was like
yes.
Like people with superpowers have gone off the rails.
And the writing isn't as strong in this one either. They introduced this new character, and it's supposed to be this big reveal at the end of episode 4 or 3, I think, that the person was like bad the whole time, right? Like
But you could tell the entire time? Like you saw coming from 8 miles away?
In the first, they introduce her. Her name's Stormfront. She's from
Billy Joel.
One of the other characters says, "Oh, you're from Oregon." She's like, "Portland." Specifically, is very specific about being from Portland, and the first thing she says to Homelander is, "Wow, your eyes are so blue." Stormfront. I mean, if you don't understand, like from the code name Stormfront, this is a neo-Nazi. Stormfront is a publication. It's the neo-Nazi publication. So, I don't know, maybe it was just me that immediately was like, oh, this person is a Nazi. But they bring her in as like the new savior, and she's also like straight talking, like take no shit type of character. She's going to talk directly to people and is not going to be controlled by the corporation that runs the superhero organization and blah, blah, blah.
So it's She-Trump.
And then she takes this big turn, like where she like just executes all these people in this building just trying to get to one criminal, and kills him because he's Asian. And I'm like, yeah, how did you all not see that this person was a Nazi from the beginning?
So what you're saying is the hand is very heavy and they're not trying to hide anything?
The hand is very heavy in this. And
I hate that. I hate that when you're like, okay, I get it. You have a lead glove on. All right.
Yeah. I mean, depends on how much they want that to be the story of season 2. It's really unsure even what the main through line through the season is going to be anyway. So the writing's kind of all over the place, but it's still an entertaining show. I mean, they had to up the ante from running over a dolphin in season 1. So there's a scene where they run a boat into a whale and have to actually crawl out of the dead whale.
Well, now what are you gonna? Well, then what's next?
Right, exactly. There's going to be a giant squid in season 3. It's like
the Loch Ness Monster, the Kraken.
Like you're setting yourself up for failure.
What next? You're going to blow up the ocean? But
it's still got a great cast. Carl Urban is always great to watch. Everyone in it is really good. It's a fun show all the same. It's definitely not as strong as season 1. Something that has been uneven but still blown me away is the new, I guess this is an HBO Max original. So if you still have your traditional HBO, you can't get it. But it's the new Ridley Scott produced Raised by Wolves, which is some hard science fiction that is like right up my alley.
What's it about?
It's about, so humanity has fled Earth for some reason. We see in the first episode a pair of androids that have been sent out into space with a bunch of frozen embryos that they then raise. They find a habitable planet, raise these embryos, and then eventually come across some other surviving members of Earth that are this competing faction in Earth, these religious zealots. So it's out there, like I said.
It sounds. I was trying to keep up with what you're explaining. Like, just trying to follow it. That's classic science fiction.
Yeah, but like I said, yeah, like hard science fiction. Or I guess maybe hard science fiction. It's not hard science fiction in the way that it relies heavily on the science end. It's big concept science fiction.
Kind of like what Devs was.
Yeah, except Devs. I mean, this is going into the future, I think probably many hundreds of years. But I think similar. I think if you enjoyed Devs, this would be a show that you would enjoy as well.
Gotcha. You've been watching The Vow?
But yes, I have.
Oh, man.
But that was the other thing. The reason I brought up that show is because they did something very similar to what The Boys did, in that they dropped, I think it was 3 episodes on day 1 and then went to a weekly schedule. So this was to this show's advantage because the way it's structured, I don't think you see anything but the androids over the course of the first episode. And so you really don't, it takes those first 3 episodes for you to get the full story that they're setting up. And it's much more structured like a novel, like a science fiction novel could be, where, you know, you could have a whole couple chapters of setting up your initial premise. And I think we're going to see more shows like that, especially shows that they're in their first season, where you really want to rope the person in, the viewer in, but you don't want to be constrained to, like, we've got, you know, an hour to set up everything in here. Now they can kind of stretch that out some and go, well, not everything makes sense at the end of episode 1, but if we drop episode 1 and 2 together, people can watch them both, and then they're going to get an understanding of what this show's all about. But The Vow, yeah, I watched, I think there's another episode this weekend. So they're doing the weekly schedule. That's something that I was like, I don't know if I'm going to watch this. A lot of these documentary series are just paced so excruciatingly poorly that they're just make it impossible for me to watch.
What?
They're paced like a lot of reality shows are, where they're like, we're going to set up this, you know, standoff between 2 people, and we're going to hype it up until the commercial, and then we're going to cut, and then we're going to come back from commercial, and we're going to rehash all that setup again, and then give you the reveal. And I'm like, you just made an hour out of what could have been a 10-minute bit.
That's what they do.
And that's what a lot of,
do that.
Yes, and that's what a lot of these, you know, documentary shows, all they're doing is taking what could have been a nice solid hour and a half, 2 hour long documentary and going, well, we could get 8 episodes out of this if we just throw everything into it. So you get like it's like getting the bloated double album where you're like, only half the songs are good.
Yeah.
But The Vow,
I can agree to that.
The Vow,
dude, there's a lot of shit to talk about here.
You see how The Vow is definitely pacing themselves. They are stretching this out. But the production value is high enough, and they have enough archival, like audio footage and video footage, that they do keep it interesting. I think they are fucking with the pacing of the story. They could probably tell this in 3 hours, but the way that they're telling it and the way that it's unfolding, I think is really effective. And that's one that I actually, by the end of episode 2, I'm like, no, what the fuck happens next? Like, it's 2 hours of like peace, love, and understanding, and then somebody gets branded at the end, and you're like, what?
It's like Keith Raniere looked at L. Ron Hubbard and went, you know, I bet I could do it better with less aliens and more fucking. Yeah. Like, just the way a lot of that shit is packaged for NXIVM is just, essentially, it's packaged like Tony Robbins, and then just all goes horribly wrong. And Vanguard, he's definitely got a type. My wife and I were joking, there's apparently a no fat chicks rule in NXIVM.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You're put on a diet.
And then when they get branded, right? Like, I saw the A and M immediately. It took me a minute to see the K and R. But how they told them it's, what is it, Earth, Sky, and Water. They tried to say it was like 3 elements.
Yeah.
And it's just their fucking initials.
That was, I mean, hats off. They definitely put a lot of work into, like, figuring this out, but it's just makes it all the more diabolical.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that is kind of a turning point, because up until that point, you could almost believe that this cult of personality might have been built up around this person without them actually doing anything.
This guy's just trying to get laid and get rich. That's really all he was. Guy's trying to make a bunch of money and fuck a bunch of chicks. That's really all this guy was trying to do.
Right, but when you realize that his initials are in that brand, then that tells you that this didn't just happen around him. This was all constructed for a purpose, to enslave people, to mentally enslave people to his ideas. And his ideas are, I should be fucking all the time.
And it's like, dude, it's like he majored in marketing in college and went, what if I made a religion out of this?
Yeah.
Like,
why wouldn't you? What if I could make all these millions of dollars with my degree and pay no taxes?
And then fuck a bunch of hot chicks.
Yeah.
Like, again, this is kind of like, call back to way earlier in the show, right? This is like kind of like, you know, feel like if the person could squirt the diarrhea with their butthole. Like, man, you've done some horrifying shit here, but
you do have to admire that the work that he put in. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, damn, you just got all these people to hand over their fortune, their life savings to you.
Right.
And you
can hold two thoughts in your head at the same time. You can say that the Nazis did horrible things, and they were also very efficient and snappy dressers.
Yeah, another group that was great at branding and marketing, right?
Yes, yes. Brilliant at it.
Yeah, just, you know, the whole genocide thing. But yeah, like I'd like to record myself watching The Vow and see how often my eyebrows just stay raised. Like, all right.
Yeah, and I think that the slow pacing, the slow rollout of the story actually really helps strengthen the message of the story. Because usually when we watch stuff like this, we sit there and go, how could you believe that? Right? When somebody said that to you, you didn't immediately think, oh, bullshit, and discredit them and write them off completely, because you're outside of that situation. You don't have the full context of that slow boil that they put you in, right? Yeah. They get you in the pot when it's lukewarm and nice and comfortable, and they slowly turn up the boil. So it isn't like, you know, one day you're wearing a sash, the next day you're getting branded. It's that slow dip into it, like you know, each week these people seem to get deeper and deeper into this thing.
I don't know, for me, it would have to be telling a grown person I'm going to bed and calling them master.
Right.
Or asking for permission to do, like, I'd start reading my text message and going, what the fuck am I doing?
Right, but that's what I'm saying, is that slow pace of the show helps put you into that brainwashed mentality. It helps kind of bring the viewer along that path of how does one get from, you know, I just want to be part of something that is doing good for myself and for others, to I belong to a sex cult.
Yes.
Right? There is a process, because the people that they're interviewing, like the main two, the one director guy and the actress, that are like the two focal points of this whole thing that actually, you know, kind of start the revolution against it as well.
Smallville's Allison Mack.
No, not her. She was totally brainwashed. She was the one that was recruiting all these girls.
Yeah.
The dark-haired woman that's in like every episode.
Oh, I forget her name.
Yeah. So those two, they don't come across as nuts.
I just recall thinking,
right?
Like, man, she was way hotter when she was younger.
Oh, what? I think she's actually sexier now.
They make the mistake. They give you, you know, they show you the two things together. Like, But anyway, sorry, I'm just being...
Well, look, I watched Tiger King, and I was like, these people, they're all doing these interviews, and they're all doing them like they're completely sane and reasonable people, and you're like, you guys are off your fucking rocker, every last one of you.
Yeah.
Right? And this is you trying to present your best possible self, and you're still like a total creep, an idiot. Like, these are the people in this documentary are reasonable people.
Yes, they come across as not bad shit crazy.
They're not nutcases. You don't get the feeling that, like, oh, if it wasn't for NXIVM, it would have been something else. Like, these people are just, it's like when you hear interviews of people who believe like flat Earth or something like that, and you're like, yeah, you're just a nutbag, and you would have gravitated to any crazy theory that would have come across your path. So I'm not surprised you found flat Earth. This isn't like that. I don't get the feeling like these people were going to be in some nutbag cult no matter what, and it just happened to be this one. But yeah, the vow I find absolutely fascinating. I think it's a really well done documentary.
I'm trying to figure out if they ever did you ever see Going Clear?
No.
There was a big giant celebration. They had a big ass party, no joke, the day that they got tax exempt status, the day that they were officially recognized as a religion. Did NXIVM ever get that? Because Wikipedia just says multi-level marketing, personal development. Did they ever get that far?
I have no idea. I only know as much of I know the stories that came out about Allison Mack and all that at the time, and then I know what happened up to the latest episode of The Vow, and that's it.
Okay, well, no, I guess reading about what it claimed to be, they probably never would have went down that route.
Well, honestly, I think that the documentary is so well done that I didn't they started referencing the brand early on in the documentary, and that was like one thing where I looked at it and I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is with this brand though? And so I looked it up. Oh, because they do a reveal. I think in that third episode, they talk about the brand at the beginning, but they don't ever tell you what it was until they do that reveal of her actually showing you the brand on her body, which I think is really effective. But I went ahead and spoiled that because I couldn't get it out of my head. Like, they're talking about this brand, but they're stopping short of describing it fully, and it's driving me nuts. What are they hiding? And so I just Googled it because all this stuff is out there for you to Google now.
Yeah, it was initially.
But I'm actively not doing that anymore because I'm like, I want the story to unfold the way that the storytellers want it to.
Yeah, it was initially it termed as an executive success program. So yeah, they wouldn't have. Scientology from the beginning was like, we're a religion. They were chasing that down. So yeah, this guy never would have. This guy. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, they weren't classified as a religion.
Yeah, no, this guy just found a way to separate people from their money and get a lot of trim.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new. Our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth, and always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth, and as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast, and check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth, and always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
But speaking of tax exemptions, that does allow me to segue nicely into our this subject of cannabis. The IRS put out guidelines recently for businesses.
For, like, weed businesses?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Well, they want to remind people that, hey, just because this isn't technically federally legal and you can't bank your money or anything, it doesn't mean that you don't still owe us a lot of money.
It doesn't mean we can't take anything.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. You may not get the benefits from operating within inside the system, but you'll still have to pay in.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
It's kind of like taxation without representation, isn't it?
A little bit. I mean, you pay sales, but it's to our state. But when you buy your shit, you pay sales tax on it, right? I know I do at the medical dispensary.
Yep. Well, I pay the standard sales tax that I would pay for any tax applicable item, plus the excise tax or whatever goes on top of that.
Isn't that funny though? Isn't
the
that
sin
funny?
Tax.
The government still figures out how to get paid. Isn't that funny how that always works?
Yep. Yeah. They can't figure out how to make it okay for them to bank, but they can put together a whole document to give out to people to show them how to make sure that you pay your taxes properly.
They can't figure out another coronavirus stimulus package. They can figure out how to get paid.
They have, there's guidelines for how to pay your taxes if you have to pay them in cash because you don't have a credit card system.
Get some bands from the bank, bundle that shit up.
Well, I guess you could, it says for a fee, you can either obtain a prepaid credit card and pay online at IRS To Go mobile app, or you can go and purchase a money order or a cashier's check at a post office, grocery store, retailer, or bank, and pay by mail.
So they basically told you to buy a prepaid card, load it up, and then use that.
Yes, or money orders.
They're putting out guidelines on how to clean your money.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly what I was saying. These are this. This is money laundering.
How to clean up your dirty money.
Yeah,
from the government. Walter White started car washes. They're just telling you to get a prepaid card.
You can pay in cash. I guess for less than $1,000, you can pay in person at a retail partner. I'm not sure what that means. If it's over $1,000, then you have to make a special appointment. And you have to set it up 30 to 60 days in advance of when your taxes are due. And I guess then they'll have somebody there that can go through and count all this money and verify. I don't know.
Yeah. Someone to make sure you don't get mugged. Hey, he's going to give us a lot of money.
No, I don't think that they're supplying that at all.
Well, I mean, they're the ones technically mugging you.
Your security, right. Yeah, your security getting the cash to the IRS, I imagine you're on your own.
Bet if it's big enough, they'll come get it.
And anytime you're transporting cash like that, it's a security risk.
Oh, sure.
And speaking of security risk, I don't usually bring up every story about the crimes and murders that happen around the cannabis industry, because if we were to report on that, it'd be every week. Because it's, there's still plenty of black market activity for cannabis, which means that there's going to be crime. And recently, so there was a big operation in California that, they didn't find out about the operation until they started investigating the murders. 7 people in one house over Labor Day were found.
I saw something about this.
Sounded like they were all family members that had a large black market cannabis processing. They seized from the premises more than 1,000 pounds of cannabis. So pretty hefty operation.
Was this California? Where was this?
And
at?
This was in California. This was in Aguana, north of San Diego. Yeah, deputies discovered they found a woman suffering from gunshot wounds who later died, and then 6 more people discovered in the house. It was being used to manufacture and harvest an illicit marijuana operation. So, I mean, this is sad.
They pissed the wrong person off.
I guess. I mean, or not. Or they just brought attention to themselves because they were operating outside the law and with cash, or with a product that, it could easily be sold on the black market. They don't, we don't know if they necessarily, that's the problem is this is probably just a family, right? They could have had a legal business. There's nothing inherently dangerous about harvesting and selling cannabis.
Especially in the state where it's legal.
It's only the fact that they were, again, all right, so yeah, they were doing something illegal. I get it. They're taking a risk. Some might say that this is a price that you pay sometimes. But they were also servicing a demand. There's a reason why the black market is thriving. And honestly, I would say, I would encourage people. I know that in every state, whether you have if you have any kind of legal program, participate in it, right? Because ultimately, this is what we do want is people to be able to legally operate their businesses without fear of being targeted. And, okay, so maybe in an ideal world, we would just be able to grow and sell cannabis like it was no big deal. And it wouldn't have to be regulated. But that's not the world we live in. So if you're...
It just seems like independent business, like a state like California, like that, you're just being an independent contractor. That's how I kind of look at it. Like, hey, there's money to be made. I'm allowed to have some of this. I could sell some of this.
I don't know, but you're talking about people operating illegally?
But how is it illegal? If they're allowed to have it, how is it illegal? Because they had more than they're supposed to?
Well, yeah, I know. It's definitely an illegal operation because, it was over 1,000 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
This was a whole operation. It wasn't like they came across a house that had, a couple O's in it. But all I was saying is, if you want to do something about the violence that happens around the black market, then, and you do have a legal program, participate in it. Buy the legal shit, right? Sure, okay, so you're going to pay taxes. But that's the only way that this is totally going to, that the business is going to get out of the black market completely.
Well, the other part is, because in California, bring the price down. If you bring the price down, you get rid of the black market.
Yes.
If you go for the volume, you get rid of the black market.
But I'm saying as far as what an individual can do, if you can afford it, go ahead and buy the legal shit. I mean, I do it because I could get shit cheaper on the black market. I just could. Part of it is...
But not on your schedule.
Right. Part of it is the convenience. Part of it is the reason why, okay, so I pay for Netflix. Why? I have a VPN. I can download whatever I want if I wanted to. Why don't I just download all the content from Netflix? Because it's all right there, organized and easily available on an app on my phone or my TV. And why would I download it and then organize it and do that myself, right? So I'm paying for the convenience. It's all right there. It's great. You find a way to give me the stuff at a price I think is not exorbitant and I can get it on my terms, I'm going to do that. Right, but when you put up roadblocks to it, when you make it inconvenient to get it, then I'm just going to go for the, water will find a way. I'm going to go for the route of least resistance.
Yep. And that's reminding me, it's about time for me to make my appointment. I got to make every 2 years.
Time to re-up that card, huh?
Yep. I got till, I think, November 1st. So it's probably about time to go see the doctor and get that bitch in the mail.
I've been thinking about that myself, too, because the prices are not really coming down on the recreational side. As a matter of fact, they're going up. Prices continue to climb for cartridges, for everything, pretty much across the board. And I also get updates from my dispensary. Every day they're like, here's our sales. And it's broken down into recreational and medicinal. So I get to see oh, hey, if you come and order early and we'll give you $5 off of a vape cart that costs, $65. And then the medicinal deal is like fucking three for 100 vape carts, 1 gram. Right? I'm like, holy shit, that's like half of what I'm paying.
Dude, if I pay over $35 for a cart, I'm very upset about it.
I mean, it still works out okay. Because a cart lasts a while for me, I'm buying like a cart every 2 weeks. So it's expensive, but it does last. But yeah, it's going up. It's continuing to go up. There was a story in International High Life had a breakdown of how much you should be paying for cannabis, or actually specifically for liquid THC or anything that comes in the cartridges that we've been talking about. Which now, with all the different types of extractions and types of carts that you can get, that's just one more thing to throw confusion into it.
What was it telling you?
Because you have just from experience at the dispensaries in general around here, you see like 1 gram carts and half gram carts that are about equivalently priced. Mm-hmm. And so you have to look at, well, what is this? Is this actually a higher concentration, or is it the half grams are usually like your premium, like terpene style extractions.
Your live resins.
Yeah. So let's see. Well, it's talking about live resins. Oh, no, it doesn't have a price for it. What? So live resin cartridge in Colorado, for how big? It doesn't say how big. It says from $30 to $40 for a half gram. Okay. $50 to $75 for a full gram. That's not too far off what we see here in Michigan.
No, not at all. How about
It's
flour?
interesting, what's that?
I said, how about flour? Old people weed.
I don't have. This just has a breakdown on concentrates. It doesn't really have much of a breakdown on it either. So it mentions California prices, and that because it's such a large market that you'll find much cheaper prices in there, but it doesn't say specifically how much that might be. I guess that Nebraska bill got pulled.
I just saw that right now when I was Googling what should you be paying for cannabis.
Yeah, I guess there was a court case contesting its inclusion on the ballot.
Whatever, they can just drive to Colorado borders. It's their west border.
Right. So they're going to retool for 2022. That's a shame. I mean, I'm sure they'll come around eventually, but this would be a good year to get marijuana on the ballot. There's going to be high liberal voter turnout.
Not Nebraska. And they have too many liberals anyway.
Nebraskans still have liberals, and there's higher liberal voter turnout all over the nation. I'm not saying that Nebraska's going to go for Biden, but there's a higher percentage of liberals in Nebraska will likely turn out.
They got Omaha, they got Lincoln. That's about it in that state. The rest of that state's pretty red.
Yes, but they do have liberals.
Correct.
They're just because they're a red state doesn't mean liberals don't live in it. But yeah, I don't think it's not going to have the same poll getting on the 2022 ballot. Shit, 2022, if Biden gets in, I think people will probably just stop voting because they'll be like, oh, good, now I don't have to pay attention to politics for a while.
Yeah.
And apparently this was a story, although I thought we knew this already. I mean, we knew that Willie Nelson smoked pot at the White House. One of 2 people to have purported to do so. He and Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, well, not shitting. Unlike
he didn't do it on the pot. He actually was. Willie was nice enough to take it out onto the balcony. But Jimmy Carter recently revealed that it was one of Carter's sons that had gone out to the balcony to smoke with Willie Nelson.
There you go. Then that kid went in and he said, check, item off bucket list.
Yeah. When Willie Nelson wrote his autobiography, he confessed that he smoked pot in the White House one night when he was spending the night with me, Carter said. I don't know why I phrased it like that.
Right. Was he in the Lincoln bench? Was he in between you and Rosalind?
Yeah. And he says that his companion that shared the pot with him was one of the servants in the White House. That's not exactly true. It actually was one of my sons, which he didn't want to categorize as a pot smoker like him. So Willie Nelson had changed. He didn't want to out Carter's kid as being a pot smoker.
Yeah, I smoked with the cook. It's crazy.
Right.
Trust me, I'm sure all kinds of shit's been done in the White House. And not by the people who are visiting.
I would imagine that everything's been done in the White House, right? Like absolutely everything.
Maybe not heroin, because that kind of...
No, it's 100% positive, yes, it's been done in there.
Maybe back in the old days. See, now, like, heroin comes with a commitment. Like, you're going to be where you're going to be for a few hours.
Yeah.
There's a time commitment there I've just never been interested in.
Still.
Yeah, I bet you everything under the sun has been done.
The most depraved act that you could look up on Pornhub has been done in the White House.
Possibly in the 90s. Oh, yeah, what was it, footnote 222? Cigar as a dildo? Which, ew.
A footnote to what?
It was, I believe it was in the Star Report.
Oh, okay.
Which, Like, cigars are absorbent. Like, no.
Yeah, you'd think it would just fall apart.
Yeah. Maybe Bill had some fucking, maybe Fidel sent him some girthy ass cigars.
I think that he didn't just fuck her with a with a cigar, because that would just ruin the cigar.
Yeah.
What he probably did was broke that shit open, rolled up a blunt in there, and then stuck it up her hooch.
There you go.
In order to, wet it.
It's like licking it. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's my pussy
I think that's the pimp way to do it.
And yeah, she's 21, so there probably definitely weren't any dryness issues.
Yeah. And she was still tight, so you'd get a nice tight roll.
Oh. Is that really how we're ending the show? Monica
Yes.
Lewinsky's vagina sealing up a big old blunt?
Yes. Pussy blunts. That just went on my bucket list. How can I smoke a pussy joint?
Yes. Let's figure this out. All right,
First, get a pussy.
Yes. Next.
Step one.
So for step one, get some pussy. Step two, get some weed.
Yeah.
Step three, profit. It's a South Park joke. It's a deep pull on a South Park joke.
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Step four, profit. All right, well, at the Weezer420 on Twitter. Want to tell us how to roll a pussy blunt? At the Weezer Podcast on Instagram, the Weezer Podcast. At ChristopherMedia.net is the email. Go to ChristopherMedia.net. It's got an Amazon banner you can click through if you want to help us out. There's a PayPal button as well. You can also listen to us ChristopherMedia.net, but we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker.com. The list is long. It's just if it has an RSS feed, we're there. Please check us out. You'll never catch us limiting ourselves to where you can listen to us. Get paid $100 million. You're gonna use Spotify. But thanks for listening and stay high.
There's a price for everything.
Oh,
stay
absolutely.
high.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World. The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for the previews to start in a movie theater.
Hey, you want anything? Popcorn? Soda? No, nothing?
This has been The Sounds of the Old World. Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.